Hey friends, it's Laura with Untitled Typewriters, and it is a good day. I don't have my coffee today. I've got my Perrier. Feels good when I have a slightly queasy stomach. I love a Perrier. So that's what I've got today. Not that I'm sick, my stomach sometimes gets in knots, and I love the feel of that. Okay. So we are going to look at a 1946 Smith Corona Silent. I'll take this paper out so you can see there's the Silent written on the back. And this one happens to be black with the stripes, the speed lines. It does come in other colors. Very popular model, body style, great for active writers. This one does not have glass keys. They're black round keys with the chrome outline exterior on them, and they just feel really nice on the hands. You'll see the lines continue down around the bottom. If you want to know how old your typewriter is, you just move that carriage over to the left, pop open the top, and right here on the right side, stamped on the metal frame, you'll see a number that starts with either 1S, 2S, 3S, or 4S, and then either a 5 or 6 digit number over here on the side. And then you can go to typewriterdatabase.com and look up your manufacturing year. If you're not familiar with us, please visit our website at jotantittletypewriters.com, and you'll find out a little bit more about who we are. If you're watching this from September through December in any particular year, you will there'll be links that take you to our Etsy shop where you can find our vintage typewriter listings. Our website will have everything else on there, but during our holiday season, it's just so busy. I don't have time to upload to both sites, and I can upload in about a fraction of the time to the Etsy site. So I stick strictly with Etsy from September through December just for the typewriter listings. Everything else is going to be on our website. But you can link, I will, on our front page of the website. I always put every week what's new in the shop, and I have photos of some of our typewriters, and they will all link you back to our Etsy shop. And then you can find our blog there and a little bit about who we are as well. Also, if you're on Instagram, that's where I kind of interact with a lot of my clients and just people in the typosphere. If you're on Instagram, we would sure love to connect with you, and you'll see that link in the description below. Okay, so I'm not going to do a typing demo today, just a tutorial on how to use it. But if you need to see a demo video, then you can click on that product listing link in the description below. That'll take you to photos of this machine as well as a link to a typing demo. So let's go ahead and get started and take a look at this. Like I said, this is a silent, but the same model. The body style carries over into the standard, the clipper, the super silent, the sterling. So very, very little distinctions between them. So really, if you happen to have a sterling of a 1946, this tutorial will still help you, show you how to use your typewriter. Okay, we're going to start from the very, very back. And back here, you will see this is your tab, and I call them tab keys. They're removable, and you'll notice that there's a metal bar that goes all the way across, and you just pull out these keys like this. Don't lose them. They typically come with 6. You'll see this one has 4. Sometimes there's only 1, sometimes there's none. Obviously, these are easy to lose. So people don't use tabs a whole lot, so you shouldn't need to, and I'm gonna have to set this down to get that key back in there. You do have to use a little bit of oomph to get that key to slide into that groove area, but you just determine where you want your tabs to be and then set your key accordingly, okay? I'm going to set this aside just because it just takes a little minute. Obviously, this flips forward, and your margins are right here, and you just press and drag, And you can set them wherever you want, obviously. There's paper holder right here. And this goes in and out. It's just a paper guide. So let's say you're typing a multi-page letter or paper for school or something like that, and you need to, or a book, and you need to have your margins exactly the same on each page. You'll want to use your paper guide to make sure you're loading it in the exact same spot so that your margins line up. Because even if you set your margin here, but you load your paper slightly over to the left or to the right, then your margins still aren't going to line up, which is why you use a paper guide. And let's say you're doing a postcard. Well, then you can bring your paper guide clear over here and type and keep your postcard nice and even. Now, if you do load your paper, so like you load it right here behind the roller. So if you do load your paper and it's crooked, and by the way, your paper needs to come underneath this metal bar. These little metal arms, and I don't know their names, just to help also keep the paper taut against that roller, and that just keeps the lettering clear, and it types better that way. Anyway, if it mine happens to be nice and even, but let's say it was crooked. If you pull this lever right here where my finger is, give you a chance to find yours, pull that forward, that releases the tension on the paper, and you can move it around, okay? And then just set it where you want it and then engage. To move this carriage, there's carriage release right back here, and you just pull that in. That bell should go off when you hit your right margin. So as you're typing, you'll type, it'll ding, and then it'll give you, 2 to 3 more characters, and on average anywhere from 1 to 5 characters that you can type before your typewriter is going to stop. And once it stops, here, let's see. So I'm showing you, there's the bell. Okay, so now it's not going to let me type anymore. There's a margin release lever right here. Just push that down. And then I can keep going. Margin release. Okay. So that's what the margin release is for. That was the paper release. Over here on the left side is going to be your line selector. So when you hit your return handle, it's going to advance 1 line or 2 lines, depending on what you want. Like if you're typing a first draft and you need to do some editing, I recommend doing double spacing. That way you can take notes in between lines. It's entirely up to you. So the carriage release lever on either side behind the roller handle, and it's just the carriage is gonna move as far as you have your margins set. So if your margins are real narrow, it's only gonna move a little bit. If they're all the way out, then they'll move the full width. When you wanna open up the top, make sure your carriage is over to the left. Otherwise it is gonna scratch this top. Just a little FYI. Okay, I'm gonna fold this over so you can see, or lift this up anyway. And inside, you're gonna see the this little basket area. Some people call it the escapement. I'm not gonna get into all of that. I don't care what the actual names are, but this is your type bars. These keys are what strike your paper, and each key has a lower and an uppercase on it. So the escapement, or the carriage basket will shift based on which character on the type pad that needs to strike the ribbon. Now this is called a floating shift because on some older typewriters, when you would hit shift, the carriage moved up and down. But with the floating shift, the basket moves up and down and makes it much easier on the pinky, because believe it or not, that pinky carries the weight of either this carriage basket or the carriage itself. Okay, let's open this back up. And if I call something by the wrong name, I'm sorry. I don't repair. My husband does the repairs. I just type on them. Okay, this is where you put your ribbon. And they're really easy to pop in and out. Please note, and you might need to zoom in on the photos. You'll find a photo in the link in the description below. I would look at that carefully as to how we have the ribbon threaded through all those guide wires. Sometimes you have to go underneath or behind. You'll notice on your typewriter grooves where you slide that ribbon in and out. As long as it looks like this, it'll work. Make sure black is on top, red is on bottom. You have guide wires here, as well as in the middle. Otherwise, you just pull them out and pop them in. Make sure it's all the way down. There's a little pin that sticks up. That pin has to go in one of those 4 holes for it to turn. When you get to the end of the ribbon, if it doesn't auto reverse, some ribbons don't auto reverse. If your ribbon doesn't have a grommet at the very end of it, it won't auto reverse and you have to do it manually. This is your manual switch right here. Okay, and you just press down and it like clicks and it'll go back and forth. There's a lot of ink in that ribbon, so you should be able to go back and forth like 50 times before you need to change it out. Okay, right here is attention selector. Touch selector is what it's sometimes called. Basically, it determines how hard these type bars are going to strike your paper. And it's just your personal preference. If you have a heavy hand or a light hand, you'll just have to test out what's going to be the best setting for you and how you type and the characteristic. I think each typewriter kind of has its own personality. Some like to have a heavier hand, some like a lighter hand, some like slow and steady, others let you type fast. Every typewriter has a little personality of their own. All right, so this is the ribbon reversal. Backspace. Remember, backspace does not erase. It just backspaces and you type over your mistakes or you X out your mistake or line through it. It's okay. That's just part of typing. You can find, I think they still have correction tape and correction liquid out there. If you want to hunt for it and use it, go for it. I just X through it, line through it, type over. I don't worry about mistakes too much on my typewriter. Okay, so we talked about the shift. The shift lock is this top part, so you just press down, let it lock. To unlock it, you just, doesn't matter which side, press down on the shift, that'll unlock it. The tab, we talked about the tabs that are in the back, so you hit tab, and it'll just stop at the different places where you have your tab sets, okay? We already talked about the margin release. Here's your color selector. It's on red right now. If you go all the way up, there's a blue dot. That's actually black. And then in the middle is white. That's a stencil setting. You won't ever need it. And if you have it on that setting, it's not going to type very well. You'll notice that it's like imprinting, but there's no ink on there. It's like the key is just hitting it. So it's just not going to, your typewriter is not going to imprint with the ink if you have it on the stencil setting. So if you're typing and you're having issues with your typewriter, it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, stop and check 2 things. Check to see if your ribbon needs to be reversed, and check to see that your color selector is firmly on the red or the blue, black up there, okay? So that is how to use a Smith Corona Silent from 1946. I hope you found this helpful. If you have a 46 Smith Corona Silent, you have a wonderful typewriter, and I hope you get it working and that you have many years of enjoyment. Hope you found this helpful, and you all have a blessed day.